All right, let us start. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. So this is talking about the way to a fortunate rebirth, and he's talking about meditation as a very general description of the practice, of one practice, or well, actually a very important practice, the development of loving kindness, Metta. So in here, in the first paragraph, it says, it gives so many examples. All the stars does not equal to a 1/16th part of the liberation of 1/16th part of the light of the moon's radiance. And the moon's radiance surpasses them all, shines forth bright and brilliant. And even so, whatever grounds there are for making the merit productive for a future birth, that means whatever grounds that is, people develop in meritorious deeds which are really productive for future birth. None of these can be compared to 1/16th part of loving kindness, of Metta. So that's what this actually, this whole paragraph is about, is telling us how strong is loving kindness, the strength of loving kindness. And so it says, whatever grounds that is productive for future birth, the Buddha actually, the teaching actually gave a few simile. The first is the radiance of all the stars when compared to the moon, and the moon's radiance when compared to the radiance of Metta. And then also, it also talks about in the autumn, during the month of the rainy season, when the sky is clear and free of clouds, the sun coming up, ascending, dispels the darkness of space and shines forth bright and brilliant. And we all experience that as we are into fall in Canada now, and the night is actually longer. It's darker now. It's like 7:15. It's still sort of like dark in the morning. And when the sun starts to rise, you can see behind the mountains there's radiance of coming up. Before the sun actually comes up, you actually see the physical sun. The radiance of the sun already shines forth and bright and brilliant. But even so, with that radiance of the sun, we can see the power. It's actually very powerful. The radiance of the sun, it shines over this whole universe. Even so, that is incomparable to 1/16th part of loving kindness. And so it continues to say. And even so, when at the morning star, at the dawn, at the moment of dawn, the stars are shining so brightly, and even so, that kind of radiance from that star at dawn is incomparable to 1/16th part of the Metta of loving kindness. So we know literally from the teachings that loving kindness is actually very powerful. I want to actually finish this before we go into a discussion of loving kindness. So from this introduction, we know that the development of loving kindness is actually being very emphasized. That it actually has this very key importance in the teachings of the Buddha. And you know what? Really, if you have actually studied the Nikaya a little bit more, you will actually see the loving kindness meditation was really a very strong practice at the Buddha's time, teaching the householder. So loving kindness meditation was really the main technique that the Buddha actually taught householders in his time. So that's why that's why in this book you can see why this is a way to fortunate rebirth, and also following is the four divine abodes is to be the rebirth into the Brahma world, right? So. And bear in mind, these few chapters is actually teachings directing to householders. Okay, so the four divine abodes, and I'm sure because most of you are very seasoned meditators, you should really know these by heart inside out. So in here, the Brahmin student sutta, and that's why this sutta is called the Sutta. Sutta. So it is in a Majjhima Nikaya, in the middle length discourse. So of course, Bhikkhu Bodhi didn't actually. I think this is the complete. Sutta, but the next one it wasn't. So in here, the student sutta asked the question. He said, "I have heard from the ascetic Gautama, that means the Buddha, you know the path to the company of Brahma. That means you know the path to be rebirth in the heavenly beings, with the heavenly beings world in the realm, in the heavenly realm." The Buddha replied, giving an analogy, and is that if somebody was raised in this village of Nalakara, so after he left this village, if somebody asked him about how to get to Nalakara, do you think this householder will hesitate and slow in replying or in telling people how to get to Nalakara? And Sutta said, of course not. Of course, nobody would be hesitant and slow in replying this. And the Buddha said, even if the man is slow and hesitant to reply, to tell people about the way to Nalakara, the Tathagata, that means the enlightened one, will not. When he is asked about the path to be reborn with heavenly beings, he will not hesitate at all. He will not be slow in answering these questions. So he said, the Buddha said, "Sutta, pay attention and listen, and I'm going to expound this to you." So that's he said, closely, listen closely, attend closely to what I shall say. And this is always the etiquette when Buddha started to teach, is somebody asks a question. Out of respect, somebody come to visit the Buddha, pay respect, stand on the side and ask Buddha, "Can I ask a question?" So that is the etiquette of approaching a teacher. So, and the teacher would say, "Now, be attentive and listen." Why do you think that would be the etiquette of the teacher? Say, why would you think that would be the answer from the Buddha to the student who asks such question? Why would you say the Buddha said, "Then, student, listen and attend closely to what I shall say"? Well, yes, it's very simple English. Everybody reads it, everybody understands it. But why? Why would the Buddha say so? Okay? Because it is so valuable, it is so precious, that's why you need to pay attention. Yes? Very good. Any more? Anybody else? No. Ma? Yes? Why don't you unmute all of them? Yeah.
I think that just would like to make it very, very clear.
Just like to make it very, very clear. Yes. That's good. Anybody else? Kok?
Because this might be the only time that you get to listen to it.
Exactly. Very good. Wow. Kok said, this might be the only time that you're able to listen to it. This might be the only opportunity that you will be hearing the Dhamma. Maybe after that, no more opportunity. So, attentive. What is attentive? What is inattention? Don't just gesture, Laurie. Please speak up. I don't know how to read hand signs. You have to unmute yourself, please. You unmuted. Oh, they mute you? No. They haven't mute you. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So your question was, what is inattention?
No.
Or what is...
My question is, what is in attention? Yeah, what is in attention?
Focus. So he's saying focus on what I'm saying.
Focus, yeah. Mindfulness.
Yeah.
Mindfulness, be mindful. Attentive, right? Mindfulness, that's the importance. Mindfulness. You see? Just very simple question, just simple English is there, but there is such a deep meaning in there. So he said, yeah, I understand Brahma, I understand the Brahma world, I understand the way leading to Brahma world, I understand how one should practice to be reborn in the Brahma world. Do these 4 points appear very familiar to you? The Four Noble Truths, right there. The Four Noble Truths, right? Yeah. What is I understand Brahma equivalent to? This is suffering. Yeah? I understand the Brahma world. I see suffering. I understand the way leading to the Brahma world. What is that? What is the Four Noble Truths? The path to suffering, yeah. I understand how one should practice to be reborn in the Brahma world. The Eightfold Noble Path. Yes, the Eightfold Noble Path, the path to suffering. And I know this will lead me out of sufferings. So that you can see, even such very simple teachings, it actually, the Four Noble Truth is embedded in it. So bear in mind, the Four Noble Truth, not necessarily just talking about sufferings. It talks about everything, doesn't it? Yeah? All our experiences. This is anger. This is the reasons for anger. This is the reasons for my anger. And this is the path of anger. And I'm walking the path of anger. This is sickness. This is the reason for such sickness. And this is the medicine for the sickness. And I need to take this medicine to become out of the sickness. So this 4 divine abodes. So the Buddha said the path to the company of Brahma. he said he dwells pervading all directions with a mind imbued with loving kindness. So these four practices, we go through it fast, okay? It's actually, we call, it's like I think most of you know, I think most of you know them. First is imbued with compassion, the loving kindness, and then compassion, and then altruistic joy, and then the last one is equanimity. So these four paths that will lead you to the company of Brahma. Anybody knows the Pali word for these four paths? Yes? What?
It's Metta, Karuna, Mudita, and Upekkha.
Okay, Metta, Karuna, Mudita, and Upekkha. So what is the general term for these four altogether?
Brahmavihara.
Very good, Brahmavihara. You see, Brahmavihara. Vihara, that means a place to reside in. Where? In the Brahma world. Brahmavihara. So Brahmavihara, Brahma, Vihara, Brahmavihara is a general term that includes all these four wonderful qualities. Or you can say all these four practices. Okay, Brahmavihara. And in this passage, it says, it is abundant, it is exalted, immeasurable, without hostility, without ill will. So, it is actually very, very simple, self-explanatory. And one thing is, he said, this is no limiting action remains there, none persists there. So what does he mean by no limiting action remains there, none persists there, or no limiting action remains here, none persists here? So what does it mean? Okay.
Sorry. Obstructions, defilements.
Defilements, obstructions?
Limiting action.
No, you were right. But you're pointing that direction, you're right. Defilements, afflictions, what do those need to? Bringing on? What kind of actions? What kind of consequence? Karma, isn't it? So he says no limiting action remains here. That means there is no more of such acts which will lead to limitations, which will lead to obstacles. So such acts, wholesome or unwholesome karma. Yeah? So that is the path, and the path is these four practices, because these four practices are so awesome. And how awesome? Because no more those limitations, no more obstacles. So the craving, the anger, the defilements, afflictions, the ignorance, the doubts, the arrogance, all those are completely removed. So don't think that going into Brahmavihara is easy. Going into Brahma world is easy. Really not easy. Really not easy. Okay? So tonight, I know this is a very short passage, but tonight I want to actually talk about the metta. So to recall your memory, to refresh your memory, or to actually, for some of you that you haven't heard about the Metasuta before, or you heard about Metta, but you haven't really read the Metasuta or understand the Metasuta. So I want to reiterate a little bit, slightly on Metasuta. So to strengthen our confidence, to strengthen our faith in this Brahma Vihara, in these practices. Okay, so Brahma Vihara, the four divine abodes. So in Pali term, it says Brahma Vihara is immeasurable. Apamana. Apamana, that means immeasurable. It cannot be measured. Apamana. So these are four wonderful virtues, and remember, meditation practices. It's not just virtues. It's actually, where do you get the virtues from? It's from practice. Okay, that lead to this cultivation of these virtues. Okay, so the first one we know is Metta. Metta. Metta is loving kindness. That means bringing happiness to others. And the second is Karuna, is compassion, alleviating sufferings. And then empathetic joy, or mudita. That means you rejoice in others' achievements, you rejoice in others' happiness, even though you don't contribute to their happiness, to their achievements. And this is actually a wonderful antidote to jealousy. And then the fourth one is upekkha, equanimity. Equanimity is a balance of mind, and is a mind filled with serenity, a calmness, openness, balance, and treating everyone equally. And most of all, equanimity, when in this context, is when one is equanimous. In this context, is one doesn't cling on to one having performed or having done having metta, or I am compassionate, or I rejoice in you. So one is equanimous in that state. Is one doesn't hold on to whatever one has done for others. I mean, in the 1, 2, 3, totally detached from there. That is equanimity is really in this context of Brahma Vihara. So these are called the Four Abodes, and these Four Abodes, meaning like excellent, sublime states of mind, and these are the ideal way of conduct towards oneself and also towards all sentient beings. And they also provide really giving us the means of how to relate to others, and giving us a means of how to deal with situations when situations arise, and how to interact with others, whether it's human beings or other sentient beings. So these actually are great ways to practice to remove tension, to remove personal conflict, to remove ego, and to remove salt on the wounds, to help heal wounds by practicing these four abodes. And mostly important, of course, on a personal level, is really how we relate with each other. But on a greater scope is in the society, how we can actually remove social barriers and discrimination, and promote harmonious communities, and And also, I think if we could actually practice that in the level of community, we can actually bring on a lot of hopes and happiness in society. So these are called abodes. I love this picture so much because it actually it depicts the path that we walk on should be like this. And at any time, if we are overcome by any emotions, we should actually think of this picture and how the Buddha tamed that drunken elephant. How the Buddha actually he didn't really persuade, he didn't need to convince, but his metta, his compassion, his equanimity, his mudita actually just naturally radiate out to convince those 5 aesthetic friends that actually spent 6 years with him in the forest. So because of all these radiance, I mean, look at this, cannot be compared, right? So whenever we have grudges over whatever, whenever we have defilements or anger over anything, anybody, we should actually allow this picture to arise in our mind right away. Last week I was in a consultant meeting, and I wasn't very happy with the work, some of the work that they have done just, and they told me it's irreversible. And I said, it's going to be a sore to my eye throughout the whole life that I'm going to live here. And so they were trying to rectify in building D. They said they cannot rectify in building A anymore. I said, it's going to remain a sore to my eyes, and it really a sore to my heart for the time that I'm going to live here for the rest of my life. And then they were trying to, they had so many suggestions and blah blah blah. And at the end, I said, I'm still very unhappy. That's all I said. I did not scold them. I did not blame anybody. But I just tell them I'm still very unhappy. And my architect said, I know, but really, sorry, sister. I said, but yeah, I accept your apology, but I'm still very unhappy. I tell them right to the face, I'm unhappy. So today they gave me a solution. They probably dug deep into their brain, and then they gave me a solution, which I need to pay for, or which we need to pay for. Hey, maybe I should argue with them. I shouldn't have to pay for this. Right, KS? Maybe we should tell them we shouldn't have to pay for this. Hey, yes, this is my wisdom. They missed it. Hey, let me bring it up on Thursday. If I need to pay for it, I'm going to tell them I'm not very happy to pay. But even maybe at the end I need to pay, but I'm not very willingly and happily paying.
Willing to pay the dental fee.
Yeah, like KS, I'm not willing to pay that dental fee, but I'm very happy to pay that dental fee. Okay, so the abodes. Why is it called abodes? Of course, in English, it's called abodes, like a place that you land on. Because why? This is a constant dwelling place of the mind or for the mind. That's why it's called abode. Okay, so we should let this 4 abodes, immeasurable abodes, or virtues or meditation practice to be a constant and consistent and dwelling place where we feel at home. And they should become our inseparable friend. Inseparable friend. Because they are so precious. These four virtues and qualities are so precious. And also, they are boundless because this is an unconditional giving. And this is a one-way giving. And this is a giving without any expectations of reward or return. Whether it's material or whether it's verbal praise or verbal appreciation, whatever. Okay? So if it becomes our inseparable friend, that means they are always constantly in our mind. It's not just a friend that comes every half a year to come visit you for a cup of tea, or every 3 years they call you up, hey, how are you doing? You say, oh, I forgot completely about you already. No. We shouldn't treat these four virtues, these four practices like this. We should treat them like inseparable friends. They are like our shadows because this is so precious. These are just rare friends, really not rare friends. These are not rare and short visit friends. These are really friends. Okay, and our mind should be really constantly imbued in this, like be saturated by these four virtues, or if we cannot keep the practice in a constant, persistent way, at least we keep it in our thoughts. That's why I said, remember this picture. Keep this picture in your thought. Then it reminds you that you have to keep these four practices close to heart. And they are boundless because there is no condition. There is unconditional giving. It is a one-way giving without any boundary and without any conditions. And also, this is non-exclusive and impartial, not bound by any personal or selective preference or prejudices. So these are the abodes, and we have to use them. We have to use them as our guideline of our conduct, and also as a guideline to reflect upon our own behavior. Okay, so I'm going to glance through the Metasuta very fast tonight, because actually I taught the Metasuta a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, I can't remember. If you want to listen to it, it should be, I don't know whether it's on YouTube. It's on YouTube. So, but I want to glance through, I want to remind you, to refresh you. So there are a total of 10 verses in Metasuta. And it is found in the Pali Canon, the Sutta Nipata 1.8. So the first verse is, what should be done by one who is skilled in wholesomeness to gain the state of peacefulness is this. One should be able, upright, straight, and not proud, easy to speak to, mild and well content. So, and then the second is easily satisfied and not caught up in too much puzzles, and frugal in one's ways, with senses calmed, intelligent, not bold, not being covetous when with other folk. And verse 3 is, I divided it into two, because the first half belongs to the first group, the second half belongs to the second category. Okay, so this is the first half of the verse 3. It's not even doing little things that otherwise one's blame. And this, the thought that one should always hold. So here it is actually talking about, you can see from verse 1, 2, and first part of 3. What do these three verses teach us? Upright, straight, able, not proud, easy to speak to, mild and well content. Frugal in one's way, senses calmed, intelligent, not bold, not being covetous. Okay, all right. Okay, so let me tell you the story of Metasuta. Where did it come from? It actually comes from Dhammapada. If you, or it actually also being taught in Dhammapada. Can't remember which verse. I think it's chapter 5. I think it's chapter 5. But anyway, the monks went into the forest. They practiced. And in the forest, there are actually a lot of beings. And the beings were sort of like, they have been living there for a long time, like beings, visible, invisible beings. So the monks were in there, and then the beings were there, and the monks couldn't practice, couldn't actually concentrate to practice, and so they were distracted. They thought that they were disturbed, so they went back to the Buddha. They said, "We can't practice in there. We can't practice in that forest because it's just too much disturbances, too much distractions." Because all the beings are really making a mess there, and all the beings are disrupting us and all that. So that's what the monks were telling the Buddha. And the Buddha said, "Go back there. Go back to the forest." And the monks said, "No, we can't. We can't practice there." What did the Buddha say?
He sent the monks back with the Metasuta, asking them to say it along the way.
Why?
I don't know why.
Because the Metasuta is the most powerful weapon. The Buddha said, "You're missing a very powerful weapon, Metta." Not just sending them back with the Metasuta. It's actually sending them back with practices. But the Metasuta is actually encompass the whole practice of Sila, Samadhi, and Panya. That's what Metasuta is. Sila, Samadhi, and Panya. So the Buddha said, you are missing a very powerful weapon. That's Metta. That's why you cannot stay in the forest. Go back there with this. Go back there and develop your Metta. And eventually those monks attained enlightenment in their forest with the practice of Metta, of course, being strengthened by the Metta that they practice. That's how actually Metasuta come from. So this few verses, the first 2.5 verses actually talk about Sila, the behavior. Okay, you can say physical and also with senses calm, that means the mind is calm also. So there are 15 moral qualities in these 2.5 verses. He said, let them be able and upright. So the body and the mind is able, and the body is upright, and straightforward and straightforward and gentle. In what? In their speech. Straightforward and gentle in their speech. And not proud. Not proud. And that means humble. Okay? And easy to speak to. Okay? That means gentle. Gentle in there, so people can easily speak to them. Some people are very difficult to speak to, because whenever you speak to them, then they will have sort of like a defensive or being offended by you. So with metta, the person become very easy to speak to. And even when they mild temper, not hot temper, not fast, but mild. So, and easily contented and being satisfied. And also easily satisfied. And then being not caught up, unburdened with duties. Not being caught up in their duties, but they fulfill, if whatever they have responsibilities or duties, they fulfill them, but not being caught up into it. And frugal, like simple life, frugal. And peaceful and calm, calming the senses. The senses calm, and that means they become very peaceful. And because senses are calm, then the person could not be like this. Right? And then being intelligent, and of course this talks about intelligence is not wisdom, okay? Intelligence is you can say is the mundane wisdom. That is intelligence, or knowledgeable. Or intelligence, you get it from knowledge. You read more books, you know more. You study more, you know more. So that is intelligence. Not bold. That means what? I'm very surprised that they use this word, not bold. I really need to find out the Pali term for this. Bold in English is not courageous, is that right?
Yeah.
Or
but if you're too bold,
that means you are too
you're almost irresponsibly fearless.
Irresponsibly fearless. Oh, I see.
And maybe not taking other people into consideration.
Not taking people into consideration. Ma, you have something to say?
Like restless and maybe impulsive.
Impulsive.
And restless.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I understand this word. When I was little, the word bold means courageous. So when I looked, it's not bold. I think it's what all of you say, irresponsibly fearless. Yeah, irresponsibly fearless, and then impulsive. Yeah, and not taking into consideration of others. Yeah, like a reckless driver. Yeah, right? Can I use that? Reckless driver. Yeah.
It's like those people on the highway that won't weave in and out.
Yeah, I think so. Not bold. Okay, that's clear. But still, I want to find out the Pali term. And not being covetous. So, and then will not do things that wise one will later reprove. That means the wise one will not approve, right? Or will reprimand. Okay, so you can see these few verses actually tell us these kind of qualities are being cultivated in the first part of the development of metta, and these qualities actually show us how we should actually hold our stance and how we should actually develop our views in relationship to the world, to people, and to situations. Not bold, and not caught up, and easy to speak to, not proud. Everything that can be applied to our daily life in dealing with people, situations, and things, right? So the second part of verse 3 is, oh, I'm sorry, the words are a little bit small. May beings all live happily and safe. If you ever, is it full screen on you? So that they can see? A full screen. Okay, they can see, all right. Okay, so may beings all live happily and safe, and may their hearts rejoice within themselves. So this is the second half of verse 3, which is actually going into a different perspective, a different practice. And let us look at the other verses too. And whatever there may be with breath of life, that means any sentient beings who are living beings, whether they be frail or very strong, without exception, be they long or short, middle-sized, big or small, or dense or visible or invisible. That means like all beings, visible, invisible, human, non-human, and big or small, far or near. And then all, whether they dwell far or they dwell near. Yeah, far or near. Those that are here, those seeking to exist, may beings all rejoice within themselves. And then the sixth verse is, let no one bring about another's ruin, and not despise in any way or place. Let them not wish each other any ill from provocation or from amity. So these are the 3.5 verses. That this is the second stage of Metasuta. It's talking about the cultivation of samadhi through development, through having the right kind of intention. So what is the right kind of intention here? May all beings live happily and safe. May their hearts rejoice within themselves. This word may they, is our intention towards others, isn't it? Our wishes towards others. If we don't have such intention, how are we going to arouse such wishes? We can't, and it's impossible. So these few verses actually slowly transit into a meditative practice. So may they be is really, we guide ourselves, we guide our intention in this particular present moment to generate loving kindness and goodwill towards all beings. And this is actually a very direct and affirmative to point directly to how to cultivate this kind of good wishes. And we all know intention of the mind is the most crucial in leading to all our actions. So this intention of generating loving kindness is also very, very crucial in the development of metta, or you can say in the development of all the Four Abodes. So rather than constantly thinking about something or remembering something or planning for something, the Buddha actually advises us to constantly engage us in every moment. This quality of the mind that actually have this intention of wishing all beings happy and safe and free from enmity. So we, from the first few verses, move from a very general a cultivation of a general virtue to a very specific and particular development of our mind, is to cultivate this loving kindness towards all beings. Get this? Yeah? So these are the guidelines for wholesome actions, wholesome thoughts. And then the next few, so the 6 and 7, just as a mother at the risk of life loves and protects her child, her only child, so one should cultivate this boundless love to all that live in the whole universe. So this actually, from the last one, it goes into very expressive how we should actually develop this metta and what is this metta like. And then extending from a consciousness sublime upwards and downwards and across the world, untroubled, free from hate and enmity. Okay, so actually 7 and 8 is, they are two different verses, but they are actually in the one big category. You can put 7 and 8 together, but that's how that actually the sutta appear. So, and then the 9th one is, and while one stands and while one sits, or when one lies down still, free from drowsiness, one should be intent on this mindfulness. This is divine abiding. Here they say. So, you can see from number 7, you can visualize this picture of a mother holding the child at the risk of life. And I remember during the Sichuan earthquake many years ago. How many years ago? 17? In China, there was this terrible 7.8 or 8.2 earthquake, can't remember. But there was this mother holding the child, and they actually dug out the two bodies. The mother was really clutching the child, so protective. And that is the metta of a mom. And she survived? The child survived, but not the mother. Yeah, the baby survived, and you can visualize that picture in your mind. That how strong that metta is, even though that is a motherly love, but that is unconditional at the risk of life, and extending from so it actually, you can see this verse 7 is actually stir up this really boundless love. Boundless love. And remember the 3 Chinese words that I told you about? Metta, right? And karuna, and then love. Remember, it's boundless love. Okay, so it's not just love. It's not just mundane love. It's not just mother and child love. It's not just husband and wife love. It's really supramundane love, because it's boundless, is unconditional, is one way, is no expectation of reward. So this is actually this last few verses tells us that we actually should keep this practice so close to heart whenever we walk, whenever we stand, whenever we sit, whenever we lie down, whenever we're free of drowsiness and still free of drowsiness. One should be intent of this mindfulness. That means this mindfulness should be close to heart, at bay all the time. Why? Because this is the remedy. This is the medicine to neutralize anger, ill will, animosity, and jealousy, and craving also. This is the medicine. And whether one is sitting, whether one is emotions, that means throughout our life, right? Throughout our life, whether we sit down, whether we lie, whether we stand, don't we just do those? Sitting, standing, walking, and eating, and lying down. That's what we do all throughout our life, right? Keep that at bay. This is divine abiding. Here they say. This Metasuta is so wonderful. It's so wonderful. It's so simple, but it's so wonderful. It's so nourishing, it's so enriching just by reading through it. So yesterday I was reading through it. I said, oh no, I should put this in tonight. I just throw it in tonight. So this is Metta. And then the last verse is verse 10. Verse 10 is, but when one lives quite free from any view, is virtuous with perfect insight, one, and greed for selfish desires let go, one surely comes no more to be reborn. So this last verse actually shifts the whole emphasis from meditation to the attainment of wisdom. This is the attainment of wisdom. No more to be reborn, that means no more rebirth. No more coming back into samsara. So it's shifting from practice of sila, samadhi, and panya, and shifting to total liberation, nibbana. So this is actually the verse 10 is tell us this is the highest plane of aspiration. Perfect insight already attained and no more rebirth. So this just doesn't come on its own. It comes from a combination, accumulation of all efforts on the path, from our view, from our behaviors, from the insights that we attained, and from the eradication of greed, eradication of selfish desires, eradication of sensual desires, and all those eradication of our own ego and everything. So this actually, it comes as a result of this accumulation of all these practices. So look at this Metasuta. The first 2.5, it emphasizes on a strong foundation of virtues. Just like what the Buddha taught all the time. Sila, samadhi, panya, sila, samadhi, panya, and then liberation. Sila, samadhi, panya, then liberation. In Metasuta, it's also the same. Sila, samadhi, panya, liberation. So with these closing close to our heart, we easily easier to overcome the desires from greed, to overcome the arrogance from ego, and to overcome the ill will from anger, from different points of views on whatever, that we actually allow ourselves to behave in such ways. Okay, so here you can see this is total cessation of sufferings just by practicing of metta. So just like practicing of anapana, total liberation just by practicing of anapana. You can attain total nibbana, but just by practicing on anapana. You can attain vipassana. You can go into vipassana by anapana. You can finish this whole four foundations of mindfulness, satipatthana, just by using anapana. So that's how wonderful the Buddha's teachings are. In all those teachings, they are all so interwoven with each other. Can you see that? So you practice metta? Oh no, you're not going to attain nibbana. You can attain nibbana. No, you can. You can. You practice anapana. Oh, maybe you can just go to the stream entry. No, you can't, because the Buddha attained enlightenment while he was in the fourth jhana on anapana. He recalled the anapana practice that he did when he was little. So that's wonderful. That's a wonderful way of the Buddhist teachings. It's all interwoven with each other. They all complement each other. So with this Metta Sutta, verse 1 to 3.5, or first half, sila, and then the second half, or third, 3, 4, and 6, to intention and scope, and that means, or you can also sing that is the practice of samadhi, cultivation of samadhi, the prelude, and then verse 7 to 9 is samadhi, and then verse 10 total liberation by having this panya. Okay, so. Reflections. I love this elephant. I used this 2 weeks ago on Friday, so I just love this. Metta, close to heart, keep at bay. Reflections. Okay, it's a very simple reflections tonight. So you listen to this Metta Sutta. You listen to this Brahmavihara. So maybe you can think of metta, karuna, are like what? Can you think of anything that is you can say, oh, this is metta, this is karuna? Nobody? Okay, I'll give you a hint. It's like medicine. It's like medicine. Okay, it cures you. If you take it, or vitamins, it nourishes you. Right? It keeps your physique strong and healthy. Okay? So in your mind, what does metta or karuna like? Analogy. Hot chocolate on a cold day, okay? Warm and sweet. Anybody else? You have practiced metta with me many times. What do I say? What do you embrace people with? Huh? Huh? What do you embrace people with? Metta. When we practice good friend, okay, very good. Good friend, okay. Thank you, Yu Ting. So when we practice metta at the end of meditation, I mean my way of practicing metta, embrace them with
Love.
okay, you said love, okay.
Good wishes.
Oh God, I failed. Total failure, on me. Ma?
Dhamma.
Huh?
I just, the Dhamma, I was just thinking about the Dhamma.
Dhamma, okay. All right. What did I teach in metta?
Light.
Huh?
Light and warmth.
Light and warmth. Brightness. Ah, thank you, Yu Ting. Brightness and what did you say just now?
Light and warmth.
Yeah, warmth. Warmth. That's love, right? Brightness and warmth. Brightness. Oh gosh.
Brightness, happiness, peace.
Yeah, okay.
Brightness, happiness, and experience love and peace.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, yeah. But they are like brightness, right? They are like warmth. They're like brightness. Safety, that's good. They are like safety, but they are safe. They are not like safety. This is what you want them to be, like be safe, be secure. But they are not like that. Like metta is like what? For example, oh, metta is like the elephant. So big and so huge. When it embraces you, you feel so warm and so heavy. Or you cannot breathe. That's what I mean. 好似乜嘢? It's like what? So like brightness, like medicine. For me, I have many examples. Do you want to hear them? Maybe you can, like a spring head, like or what do you call Harrison Hot Spring? You know those springs. Infinite warmth, infinite springs water coming up, infinite. Or for me, metta is like water. Sometimes it is soft when it's not cold, but when it turns into ice, it could be very hard and heavy. So for me, metta is like water. It changes according to its conditions. So sometimes you have to use harsh words, just like ice, to some people. But in the deeper part of the mind, there is no ill will. There is metta. But sometimes you have to use soft words. So it's just like water flowing by. To me, metta is like water. To me, metta is like a tree shade. A big tree with such a huge shade, like our maple tulip. In the summer, Goldie loves sitting down there. Paul likes to play with Goldie just below that shade. Even on a hot day, when you sit down below that shade, it gives you that coolness, that comfort. And as Yu Ting said, wholesome friend who can be by your side, whatever, wherever. And it can be a close family who, no matter how bad you are, they're always supportive, but in a wise way, in a very wise way. And of course, there are You think of any more?
In Chinese, we usually use mother.
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 Oh. 慈母啊, huh? Oh, mother, yeah. Kind mother, yeah. 多拜二。
慈母手中線啊，先上衣。
慈母多拜二。慈母手中線，遊子身上衣。Yeah, very good. Yeah, compassionate mother. Yeah. Anybody else? Can you reflect on what metta? Any examples?
I don't have an exact word, but I'm thinking each of those brings relief and support in some way.
Yeah, that's the consequences, right? I want examples.
A true friend that, like, just is unconditionally helping you in
any
whatever
way.
they do,
Yeah.
or whatever they have to do.
Wholesome friend. Yeah. Yeah, Paul said a true friend. Yes. Anybody else? Think of any examples that is relating to metta? Wisdom. That's a consequence. That's the result that metta brings. Maybe the question is very ambiguous. No? You can't think of anything? Can you say that it's the crutches? Is the crutches for a man who actually broken his ankle? Or air boots?
Or an alpaca blanket in a house with no insulation.
Alpaca blanket in the house with no insulation. Don't complain, I tell you. Don't complain. A lot of people do not have a house do not have a roof.
Or a blanket.
Or a blanket. Don't complain. The key to open the heart. That's good. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Think about that, okay? Keep metta close to your heart. Then you will be able to live happily and lightweight and peacefully. Okay. Should we dedicate our merits then? Reflect on what is metta like. I want some answers next week. Okay? Please. May these blessings extend to all, that we with all the other living beings together will attain the Buddha way. May we wish more and more people will encounter the wise words of the Buddha, study them, practice them, and apply them to their life and disentangle them from all the sufferings, all the defilements, all the obstacles, and be ultimately, truly free, happy, and peaceful.